Welcome everyone to the training, how to double your marketing agency's profits in 2022 using these 4 unusual tech-enabled services. We're going to explain what that means in a second. I'm Zach Grove. I'm the GM of Clickflow, and I'm here with Chase. Excited to get started.
All right, let's do this.
So a couple quick reminders. Please do use the chat to ask questions. And we'll make this pretty interactive. You don't need to wait until the end like you do on some training. So if there's a question on a slide that we're showing you, feel free to drop it in and we'll answer those as best as we can. There's also an exclusive surprise at the end. So I'll leave you hanging with that, but you will want to stick around to the end. It is time sensitive, and especially for attendees, you'll want to see what that is.
Awesome. Just sending Jerry an answer to his Q&A. And all right.
Awesome. So a couple quick things that you're going to learn here today. So we're going to be talking about how agencies can leverage software to add revenue and deliver on services without working harder. So that's the idea here, is we want tech to do a lot of the heavy lifting so that you can reap the benefits and add a lot of value to your clients. And we're going to talk about 4 specific plays that'll show your clients an ROI so that you can retain them longer with these tech-enabled services. We're also going to talk about these specific services that you can consider adding in 2022 so that you can grow faster.
I love it.
So quick background on Single Grain and Clickflow. So we help great companies make the most out of their content. We've worked with a lot of venture-backed startups, some SMBs as well, but a lot of enterprise clients that you can see here. And so you know, the tech that we're going to be walking through and some of the services, these are proven from small businesses all the way up to the largest client that you may be working with.
There's some bit more brands right there, my friend. Those are some big logos.
Yes, sir.
Oops, there we go.
So Single Grain's blog gets over 300,000 monthly visits. So we know what we're talking about on the SEO and the content side. We're going to be talking about some of the secret sauce that has helped us scale sites from 0 to millions of visitors, of course, including our clients as well. And on the next slide, you'll see that. So excited to share some of the productized services that you can offer to your clients as well that are working for us.
Cool. So this one's us, a little bit about HighLevel. If you haven't seen us before, we help agencies and marketers thrive with an all-in-one sales and marketing platform specifically designed for agencies. So we are white label, which means you brand the platform with your logo, your colors, etc., and then you resell it to your clients as your own software. Which is amazing because we help agencies open up a whole new revenue stream that's typically way stickier than your services revenue because it's software. And so this year we saw more than $11 million of just software recurring revenue get generated for our agency customers. And it was pretty exciting. So we're really excited for 2022.
Awesome.
All right, so let's talk about the first software-based service that you can provide for your clients next year if you're not doing this already, and it's the database reactivation. I think Zach and I are both on the same page that we absolutely love this play in a playbook for a couple of reasons. So one, I love it because it requires no ad spend. So it's an amazing foot in the door, right? You can roll up to pretty much any business that's been in business, right? It's always smart to work with businesses that are making money as opposed to startups, and say, hey, if you guys can give me your list of past customers, past leads, past transactions, I can generate a bunch of new sales for you. You won't have to spend any money in ads, and whether you charge for it or you don't, it's an incredible first step in a relationship with a new client. And so what are we talking about? Let's say I want to go sell to a dentist. I say, hey, Dr. Bob, give me your list. If you need help getting it, I'll get it out of your computer for you. You might be technically challenged, but once I have my hands on your list, I need an offer. How does a free teeth whitening sound if somebody books a cleaning? Most dentists will say, that's great, cost me nothing. I'm happy to add on a little whitening session to the end of a cleaning. Let's do it. And so great. So I'm going to take that message and I'm going to send it out to this list and basically say something like, let's take a look at what this would actually look like. We're going to use hopefully HighLevel to send a text message out to this list that says something like this in the bottom right-hand corner. Hey, first name, I've got 10 free teeth whitening vouchers on my desk here from Dr. Bob. Should I put your name on one? super conversational, really laid back, but a really powerful offer, right? We could all use a little whitening, I'm sure, these days, especially if you're a coffee fanatic. And so it's a really compelling offer, right? Let's talk about how it gets fully automated with HighLevel, which is exciting. In the past, if you do this, you're going to get a lot of yeses, you're going to get a lot of nos. And so you would have to sort of manually sift through all of that to then go back to Dr. Bob and say, hey, here's the list of people that accepted, and let's talk about getting them booked. Well, with software now, with HighLevel, we can automate the whole thing. So we have this really cool positive negative intent trigger. It uses Google's artificial intelligence to basically determine the intent of any message. So it recognizes everything from yes, yeah, sounds good, awesome, let's do it, as positive, and no, no thanks, screw off, that kind of stuff will all be tagged as negative. And now we can automate from there. So automatically we have our list of positives, and then we can automatically shoot back a text to anybody who replies positively with something like, awesome, here's the link to book. Let's go ahead and get you booked for your cleaning so that we can, get you in for your whitening as well. The result is, so we just talked about how it's fully automated, right? And this is what it actually looks like in our workflow builder here. So essentially you send the text, you wait for the reply, and then you run that cool AI step I was talking about, which figures out, was it a positive reply or a negative reply? And then determining on which, you go down that corresponding path there. So the result of that is, like I said, incredible. Imagine that's the first thing that you do for a client. We recommend it is the first thing that you do for every new client, because why not? It requires no ad spend. It's super easy to set up. You can kick it off in a day, and you're delivering immediate wins for your client, who is now absolutely thrilled and is probably way more likely to hear about the other services that you offer in terms of upselling folks. So DBR, database reactivation campaigns, they have a bunch of names in the industry, but you definitely want to consider these if you're not doing them already, because it's really a no-brainer.
Chase, quick question on database reactivation. Can you speak to some of the average fees, or what are your users kind of charging clients to do? This looks kind of like a one-time thing, or maybe there's an ongoing component as well.
Totally. So Matt DeSeno, somebody from our community who helps a lot of folks get going with different programs and whatnot, has an amazing playbook for this. He basically charges $500 to run a DBR with a money back guarantee, because he knows it works every time. As long as you have a list, it's going to work. And so he, and then this is brilliant, right? So he does $500 money back guarantee. While they're setting this up, they activate all the other cool little automated stuff in HighLevel. And so by the time this runs, they're absolutely thrilled. And in their mind, they're thinking, okay, this software that did this costs $500 a month. And so then his sales team says, so do you want to keep this rolling? We actually have this yearly promotion that's $3,000 for the year, because again, I've already done the math. $500 a month is going to be $6,000 for the year, right? So as soon as you tell me that there's this yearly $3,000 deal, I'm like, whoa, that's a 50% saving. That sounds fantastic. So they just sign people up on yearly subscriptions left and right, because one, they're like, you can do this for me every month, every quarter. Yeah, of course. But they've also seen a lot of the other automated stuff that HighLevel does. So they're like, this is fantastic. $250 a month for all of this. Boom. And now they're signing people up on a purely automated software solution. And then they start upselling services like SEO, Facebook ads, Google ads, etc. But the point is, you started it off so well that they're way more receptive to all your other offers.
You know, what's really cool about this is, I know the example that you're showing is for like a local business, like a dentist, but I've seen this work really well with SaaS. So for B2B, you can arguably have even more impressive numbers if you're an agency that works with, SaaS clients in B2B, because, if you re-engage an old email list, or it could be a text list, and say, hey, we talked a year ago and did a demo, it didn't sound like the timing was right, is now a good time to revisit this. You can book a lot of demos and close a lot of deals quickly. So I think that this is sort of industry agnostic. At least that's what I've seen. So this is awesome. Great stuff.
Totally. And the fact that the whole thing's automated all the way through the booking, it takes so much work off of the sales team's plate of like logistically making it all happen, that it's just a whole nother level. All right, let's move on to number 2. So this one is huge. Let's talk about the first 5 minutes. So MIT did a study about leads. A very smart professor from MIT went and did a lead study to try to figure out, why do some leads close and why do some leads not? And basically the number one factor they determined was time. And it's essentially a 5-minute window. The odds of closing a lead after 5 minutes basically fall off a cliff, and then it becomes a game of, basically following up. But I want to talk about that first 5 minutes, because in reality, this 5-minute window comes and goes for every lead, basically. Guaranteed if you're leaving it up to your clients. So raise your hand or throw a 1 in the chat if you've ever basically set up a form for a client, or you send a spreadsheet full of leads that you've generated for a client and ended up in a situation like this. You generate a bunch of leads, right? I remember Botox leads for $6 a pop. And at the end of the month, their first month, we hop on a call and we're like, hey, med spa owner, I see we generated 150 Botox leads for $6. Like, wasn't that amazing? And they're like, no, none of these people showed up. None of these people bought anything. These leads stink. We're not even sure we want to continue working with you. And you're like, whoa, what do you mean these leads stink? Leads don't just show up and buy. You have to close leads. You have to call them and text them and, hammer them. And are you doing anything? And so you're ending up in this battle with your brand new client, which is a horrible way to start a relationship, right? But here's the truth. You're right. They do stink at closing leads. The problem is you can't just rest on that, right? Like, oh, you feel good because you're right. But the truth is it's costing you clients. And so you have to take that piece out of their hands, because most clients, most small businesses are used to people literally walking through the front door or calling them wanting to buy, right? That's not a lead, that's a customer. And so when you're doing lead gen, you can't leave that first 5 minutes up to them, because you'll be shooting yourself in the foot. You're going to lose that client. And we know this, right? We've worked with, right now there's like 15,000 agencies using HighLevel, but since we started 3 years ago, we worked with tens of thousands of agencies, and we've seen the churn rates. I promise you, if you're not automating the nurture, you're going to churn at a way higher rate than you could be retaining clients. So what's the solution? We call it the first 5 or the fast 5. And so let's check out what happens here. Every time a lead gets generated, right off the bat, we send an email with everything they need to know. Thanks for claiming our offer, blah, blah, blah. Here's the fine print or whatever. Here's the next step, which 90% of the time is to book something, right? Book a call, book a consultation, book an appointment, whatever it may be. So we send that email. It's got all the details. Then we send a quick little text. Hey, Chase, thanks for claiming that free teeth whitening offer. The next step is to book a cleaning. Is now a good time to get you booked? And then we wait 2 minutes. We give the automation 2 minutes to do its thing. And then we check, have they replied to that SMS? If they did reply, then we run that cool AI I told you about that checks for positive, negative to determine, was the reply positive? If it was, boom, I automate back the calendar. Great. Here's the link to book. Go ahead and grab a day and time that works for you. If the reply was not positive, I'm probably just notifying somebody on the staff. Hey, somebody replied to something and it was negative. Somebody needs to go check it out. But what if they don't reply to that text? All right, we're rolling into our call step. This is awesome. It's like one of our secret weapons. We will actually, the software will call the business. All right. So we're calling Dr. Bob's Dentistry. When they answer, they hear a message. Hey, you have a new free whitening lead from Facebook. The lead's name is Chase Buckner. Press any key to connect with Chase. If they push a button, we call the lead. If the lead answers, we bridge the call. So now you're forcing your clients to get on the phone with a lead 2 minutes and something seconds after it came in. Amazing, right? Well, what if that doesn't happen? What if the lead doesn't answer? What if the business doesn't answer? Well, then we roll on into a voicemail step. This is cool. It's called ringless voicemail. Basically, the lead's phone doesn't actually ring. They just get a push notification saying they have a new voicemail. And so they listen to it. Hey, this is Chase from Dr. Bob's Dentistry. Thanks for claiming our free teeth whitening offer. Next step is get you booked. Shot you an email, shot you a text. Feel free to reply to either, or just call us back at this number. And then we roll on into a longer term nurture. But look at this, how night and day this, how different this is from sending a spreadsheet full of leads, or just sending an email every time a lead comes in and praying that your clients know what to do with them, as opposed to all of this that you can guarantee happens in the first 5 minutes of every lead. Night and day, absolutely an insane step to set up for all of your clients, whether they're coming in through paid ads, whether they're coming in through organic rankings, pages that you're getting ranked through SEO. Leave no lead behind. Make sure that they all go through an ideal first 5 minute scenario, and you will cement your clients, because all of a sudden now they're like, these guys are amazing. Like, our calendar is just full. Like, our staff isn't having to deal with anything, and our calendar is completely booked out. This is awesome. And so complete game changer, Zach. Hopefully you guys agree. And if you have any questions about any of this, throw it in and we'll loop back.
So Alexandra has a question. She's asking, what are some of the typical results that you've seen some of your users get with the first 5 if they're implementing this for clients?
50 to 70% increase in lead to booking rates.
Wow.
So before I joined HighLevel, I ran an agency, I ran operations, and we were one of the very first agencies to find HighLevel in 2018. And I spent a month building out our SOPs, figuring this all out before workflows existed, before it was Fast 5. You had to do it a bunch of different ways, but I made it happen. 50 to 70% jump across the board, all of our clients. It was absolutely insane. It was like, what the heck just happened? Because think about it. If you go look at the front desk of any dentistry, any doctor's office, any whatever, that person is dealing with people walking in. They're dealing with phone calls. They're taking out the trash. They're getting lunch. They're walking the doctor's dog 3 times a day. They have zero training when it comes to closing leads, right? So they put it off. They don't do it. And if they do it, they're calling people back the next day, 2 days later, when we know, because the MIT lead study proved it to us, it has to happen in the first 5 minutes. So it's literally impossible. It just doesn't happen in your clients' businesses. And so when you automate it and you make it happen, the result is drastic.
This is really cool stuff. I hope folks are understanding the power of this, because it seems like you can really credibly offer, hey, we're going to give you booked meetings. We're not just going to give you leads that creates another, task on your to-do list. And that's ultimately, what clients want. Chase, you got a bunch of, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to answer Alex. So no, this works in pretty much any industry, and it gets pitched a lot of different ways. Like, I talked to recently one of our customers who sells it as, hey, he focuses on home services, right? So like roofers, plumbers, these types of occupations. And he's like, hey, do you have a hard time handling your inbound, your phone calls and stuff? And it's like, yeah, totally. Because I'm always on the job, and, my wife handles some of it, but she's dealing with our kids and stuff. And he goes, well, what if I could just turn it all into text messages, and then you could just review and reply via text? And they go, oh, that would be amazing, because I don't have to deal with the ringing phone, and I can sift through all the crap that comes in, because nowadays 90% of phone calls are just spam, right? So they're wasting all this time fighting through that. And so that's how he pitches it. I'll turn every potential lead into a text, and I'll actually text back some of them for you. So like, I can take some of this plate off your plate with automation. But you'll just get it all in an app on your phone, and you can just text back the good leads and go from there. And that's how he gets them in, because that's the pain point that he's determined that they're facing. But he's just basically running this, or a variation of this, and focusing on the SMS side, not the email. But it really works across the board in any industry when you think about it, and probably even for your own agency. When you get a lead, how quickly, realistically, do you get back to them? And I think if you're honest with yourself, you realize that, yeah, you need to set something up like this as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, I think it's niche agnostic. I've seen large companies fumble the ball with this stuff. You could have a huge enterprise lead and things happen. They just don't get booked, or they need to reschedule, and being able to automate a lot of this to put booked meetings on the calendar. Super powerful. A couple more questions here, Chase, before we keep going. So Sherman asks, what happens in the rest of the flow?
The rest of the flow? Oh, well, great question. I love to talk about longer term nurture. Basically, I would probably run something similar the next day and maybe the day after that. And then I'm going to roll you into a longer term nurture. So I'm going to have, like, let's say at least 12 emails that go out once a month based on industry relevant topics, right? So if I'm a dentist, you're going to start getting emails monthly about like Invisalign versus braces, because, maybe you have a kid. Root canal versus whatever. Oh, did you see this new thing in the news in the dentistry world? All that kind of stuff. Because at some point along the way, something's going to pique your interest. And maybe it's just a testimonial about somebody who waited too long to get their teeth cleaned or whatever it may be, that's going to bring you back at some point. So then the pitch that, I used to give, and I teach our customers to give, is, hey, if you work with us, we're going to generate leads. And one of three things is going to happen. One, they're going to follow the automation's advice and book. So they're going to end up on your calendar. Amazing. Your staff won't have to do anything. It's awesome. Two, they're going to reply to the automation. So some people will reply back asking questions. That's fantastic, right? That's a hot lead. We're going to notify your staff. All they need to do is answer the questions or whatever and get them booked. Or three, they don't do anything, but don't worry. We'll put them into our long-term nurture where we're going to nurture them for 12 months for you. How does that sound? That's a pretty compelling offer, right? And so I just flipped the slide to give you an idea. We're not going to go into pipelines and stuff, but basically this is the end result, right? You can automatically filter things into a pipeline like this. So now your client can come in here at any time and see in any given time frame how many leads came into the system. Those hot leads are people I just described in scenario 2. They've asked questions, right? Oh, are my staff on these? I better click in here and see what's being said. How many people booked? This scenario, I have booking requested and confirmed. Some people like to manually confirm, or you can combine that into one. And then how many of those actually sold? And so it's just a whole new world of visibility. One, the conversions go through the roof. And then two, you're providing visibility to your client because they've never been able to see it like this. They've never seen the whole story. They've never seen where it's falling down. And just being able to go click into those text message conversations or listen to the phone calls that their staff is having is a service in itself that is incredibly valuable to a business owner that they've likely not had before. So no, it's not niche specific. Do you offer PPC or social media with this platform? No, that's typically what you guys do, right? So our customers are typically lead generation specialists in one way or another, whether it's running ads, whether it's social media. And so we essentially give them what they need to take it further, which is exactly what we're talking about here. The platform integrates directly with like Facebook lead ads. So you don't need Zapier or anything. Like the leads will come straight in, and then you can run them right through that recipe, that what I showed you in the previous slide. This first 5 is actually a workflow recipe. So if you go into our workflow builder and you create a recipe or you create a new workflow, you'll see these recipes down here. And so the fast 5 is right here. So you can like click it and just load it right up and then just go customize the pieces and you're ready to roll. All right, Zach, I'm swinging it your way.
This is killer. And Alex, I think that question is a good segue because we're going to be talking about how to get more traffic for your clients. And it doesn't necessarily need to be PPC or social media. We'll give you some ideas here for productized tech-enabled SEO services. So let's dive into the next productized service, which is monthly SEO content with a unique twist. So, big picture, a lot of agencies, a lot of you watching might have offered SEO to your clients in the past. Maybe you have some SEO retainers where you're producing blog posts every month for your clients and charging them. And that can be a really nice recurring revenue service, works really well. So what I'm going to be talking about is sort of SEO content on steroids. So there's a unique twist that we found works really well for our clients and frankly is less work. You're relying on the tech to do a lot of the heavy lifting, and paradoxically, it kind of gets better results for clients. So let's talk about what that is. So we have a feature in clickflow.com called ContentDK. You could do this manually, which I'll get to in a second, without using this tool. But the concept here is you want to audit your clients or prospective clients' websites to see what pages that they have on their website that are declining in traffic. And so what you're going to offer as a service is refreshing this old content so that you can kind of revive it and bring it back to, the old traffic levels that the content was, getting for them and driving leads for them. So you can see here in this screenshot, in this particular example, there's a page on our website that at one point had 99% traffic loss since peak. So, this happens all the time. It's becoming more and more competitive with SEO. So you can bet that your clients have ContentDK on their site. I can virtually guarantee you the majority of them are not even thinking about this. So when you come in as the trusted advisor, as the agency owner, and you say, hey, I'd love to show you which pages are losing traffic on your website, and then we can refresh them, you can get some pretty quick wins. And instead of waiting, 6 to 12 months to grow organic search traffic for a client, you might see a spike by reversing this trend within, we've seen 4 to 6 weeks. So really powerful stuff. So here's exactly how to get started if you want to offer content refreshing as part of your SEO content retainers to clients. So what I would do is I would advise you to look at your clients' top decaying pages that are overdue for a refresh. So you saw in the previous slide that Clickflow shows you this in one click. You literally just connect to your client's Google Analytics and Google Search Console, and then we'll show you this report. Or you can do this manually yourself with a bit of spreadsheet finessing with Google Analytics. Either option works. And then what you're going to offer as this tech-enabled service is you're going to upgrade the content of the decaying page. So if I go back here, we're going to look at the actual content of, in this case, like the best digital marketing campaigns page that has decayed. And it doesn't really take much effort. You can add some more examples to the content, just beef it up, maybe add 500 words. You can certainly outsource this to a freelance writer, and I would recommend that you do that. You can embed a YouTube video. We find that works pretty well for content refreshes to keep people on the page longer. Again, doesn't take much. And if you want to get started with this, go to one of your existing clients and just offer to audit their blog for free. Show them which posts are decaying. It makes a pretty compelling pitch when you show them, hey, this is how much traffic you're losing. One of the psychological principles that works pretty well in sales is, loss aversion. So people don't want to feel like they're losing traffic, which they are. And with a tool like this, it's a pretty easy close. A couple concrete ideas that you could use. You could offer a content audit for $1,000 to $2,000, maybe more, depending on the size of the client, or you can offer it for free and kind of have that be the foot in the door offer to then upsell them. Okay, well, it's going to cost $2,000 or $3,000 a month for monthly blog content, including refreshes. Really cool strategy. If you want to take this,
Zach, quick question from Alex. This is going to be recorded and folks will be able to go back to this and rewatch, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll be sending the recording to all registrants, and you'll be able to rewatch this. And awesome. So to give you an idea of results, so there's a marketing consultant, really sharp guy named Jason, who has been using Clickflow, and he was working with a client called electricityrates.com. Pretty competitive niche in SEO. We're not talking about a local business here. That this is nationally competitive, where this is an affiliate model website. So pretty ruthless in terms of kind of who they were going up against, much larger, better funded competitors. But with this content refresh strategy, what they were able to see is a 327% increase in SEO clicks. Client was thrilled with that, and a 31% increase in average ranking. And if you're interested in streamlining this and having this take up less of your time, you can use a tool like Clickflow. What you're seeing here with this Your Top Growth Opportunities dashboard is when you connect a client's, again, Google Analytics or Google Search Console accounts, you're going to be able to just dive straight into the different opportunities, including ContentDK. Just go in, it kind of serves you up these exact recipes, to use Chase's language, in HighLevel, and you're good to go. So kind of an optional add-on to this is content optimization. This is a strategy that really any content and SEO agency worth their salt is starting to do now, where you're using tech to grade the content. You're not having a freelance writer kind of guess if they're comprehensively covering a topic. So in this example, if we want to write a blog post and have it be up to par with all of the competitors that are already ranking on page 1 for our target keyword or our client's target keyword, then we want to make sure that it's ranking, or excuse me, it's graded at least like a B+ or an A before we hit publish. And so this is sort of you can think of this as like an automated SEO specialist. Instead of hiring someone on your agency, you can use the software to grade your freelance writer's work. And what we're seeing is clients are ranking faster. They're happier because they're actually maintaining the rankings, and they're not decaying as often. And you can combine this with ContentDK because, again, you can go and say, hey, these posts are decaying, and we're going to improve the grade because we know that your existing content is not up to par. Makes a lot of sense, especially for a non-technical client, right? They see, oh, great, I get it. Our content is not up to par, and they're going to pay you to publish that higher quality content as informed by the software.
Sherman, so Clickflow and HighLevel are two separate softwares. We are good buddies in the world of software. And so our idea was, hey, let's get together and talk about how folks can use some of the features that we both offer in 2022 to boost your business. And so what I love about what Zach's talking about here, this is so great, because if you've done SEO or know anything about the world of SEO for the past like 10 years, SEO agencies have been running around selling people packages of really low-end blog content. So we'll write 500-word blog posts for you every month. Yep. And that worked for a very long time. So there are all these businesses that have these really bloated blogs full of shallow content that's not ranking or not ranking well. And so when Zach showed this to me, I was like, oh my gosh, you could make a business doing this alone, just going and auditing content and showing them, hey, here's your decay. I can, combine some of these into longer posts, or, redo them by letting the tool tell you what you need to put into them. And you just watch the rankings go up. So whether you're, applying this to your own business's blog, or if you're an agency or consultant who works with clients, this is like such a no-brainer. If I was an entrepreneur, I could go build a business around this in 2 seconds, because every website is full of all these old outdated blog posts.
Yeah, that's well said. I think that's a good call out, Chase. As we're giving folks this kind of menu of options for tech-enabled services that you might want to add in 2022, it's very possible to build a business around any of these. I know folks personally, consultants who just pretty much do database reactivation, or who are lead nurturing specialists, or who are just offering SEO content. Many Clickflow users are agencies that are just offering that. So yeah, really exciting stuff. You can pick a horizontal specialty like content marketing, and then also a vertical. Maybe you're, the SaaS content marketing guy or gal, or you're doing this for local businesses or e-commerce. The opportunities out there are really abundant with this kind of tech. So I think that's a good call out. You can pick any one of these and build a whole business around it for sure.
So Zach, Antonio is asking, does Clickflow rewrite the content?
Great question. So the software does not rewrite the entirety of the content. However, I could even pop out of here and show you really quickly. So if you're using content editor, let's say you're refreshing a decaying post, one thing that you could do is, if I pop in here, you can look at some ideas that the software will serve up for how to refresh this. So adding these semantically related keywords that you're currently missing, but your competitors are touching on, that's a great approach. You can also look in the research tab to cover some of the related questions that folks are asking around a given topic. So, if your client has a blog post that doesn't have, let's say, an FAQ section, there's your refresh right there. Just grab all the people also ask questions, put an FAQ section at the bottom, write, 2 to 3 sentence answers to each of these common questions, hit republish, update, the publish date. And, we have consultants who are doing that for clients, and it's actually working quite well.
So Antonio, think about that. Zach, can you click back to the relevant term section?
Yes.
I take a blog post that's already written, I put it in here, and on the right-hand side, it's telling me, okay, the word link building, or the term link building, should be used between 3 and 4 times in this article. Well, it's also telling me that they've used it 7 times. So I just need to go remove it 3 times. Vice versa, engine optimization should be used 3 to 4 times. This article has it in there 0 times. So I just go weave it in. It's like a cheat sheet to ranking content. And so think about how easy of a service that is to offer.
Yep, well put. Another cool tactic, you can give this to your writers who are executing on this, or yourself if you are, is we also serve up the search engine result page inside of the software. So if you need inspiration, or your writer does, they can click out into, let's say the top 5 or the top 10, see how they're structuring their content compared to the clients, and you're going to get endless ideas for how to refresh your piece of content.
I love it. It's so easy. It's so much easier than trying to find 5 things to write about every month about
yeah, yep.
the best plumber in Boise, Ohio, or Boise, Idaho, or wherever Boise is.
Yep, I hear you. Any other questions, or should we keep cranking?
I think there was a question about pricing. We can talk about pricing at the end, or if you want to go into it now.
Yeah, we'll get to that in just a second. Short answer, if you're eager to get started, you can go to clickflow.com, but there will be kind of a special offer for folks who are attending live here in just a second. So almost done. We'll keep cranking and get through the last of the productized services. And this is CTR testing, so click-through rate testing. And what I'm going to be talking about is a little different than what you might think of with Facebook ads or with Google ads, where you're looking at the click-through rate from like a news feed to your client's website. In this case, we're talking about SEO click-through rate testing. Almost nobody is doing this, and it's a very quick win, especially for higher traffic websites. So some of your bigger clients are going to get a lot of value out of this. And so here's what I'm talking about specifically. So on any blog post or website page that shows up on let's say the first page of Google, you're going to have what is called a title tag and also a meta description, right? So option A, your client might have some kind of plain vanilla page titles like marketing blog. And what you can do is you can use our software, or you can do this manually to say, oh, this page, it's ranking on page 1 of Google. It's getting a ton of eyeballs, but those eyeballs are not converting into clicks to your website, because instead they're clicking on other competitors' page titles, which are more compelling. So you're going to use your copywriting chops. Our software also helps with this, where option B might be, let's split test their current page title against something more descriptive and compelling, right? Like best marketing blog with maybe some parentheses. That's a good tactic that you can test with a lot of this kind of testing. And so the manual way and the way that we've previously done kind of pre-post, AKA before and after split testing, is we might have a spreadsheet that shows the old title versus the new title, as you can see here. And then we're going to manually kind of input a date for when we changed it, and then have to keep track of, all right, 15 days later, 30 days later, let's revisit the results. Very tedious. It does get great results. We've seen that at our agency, Single Grain. It's just kind of a pain. So that's why we built the CTR testing feature in Clickflow, which shows you this. So you can see this filter here at the top left, the pages with high impressions but low clicks. That's what I was referring to, where, again, page 1 of Google, we're looking at all of our clients' pages that are not getting a lot of clicks, even though they might be getting, in this case, over 1 million impressions per month. Really great opportunity. And again, it's a low lift, not a lot of work, because you're not even changing the body content. You're literally just changing the page title. You could do it in, WordPress or Yoast or whatever, content management system that your client is using. It takes literally 10 minutes to set up. And in some cases, we're able to more than double traffic to a money page. I'm talking a page that drives, a lot of leads and sales for your client. Super powerful stuff here. So a couple testing tips. This is from one of our agency users. You can try brackets, like with the year, to show that the content is current on your client's website and set it apart from competitors. As Dan wrote, there's really no one size fits all for any page if you're doing it right. But just like any kind of testing, if you're testing ads, testing landing pages, testing SEO titles is a science, and you can offer this as a service where you're doing this ongoing and upselling existing SEO clients and saying, hey, we're not currently doing this for you, but we'd love to offer you ongoing CTR testing for $1,000 a month. Great way to expand clients and to kind of grow your recurring revenue going into next year and beyond. Couple results here that I alluded to. So in this example, we ran a test. You can see the old title versus the new title. And we increased clicks here by over 100%. So again, more than doubling traffic. Took 15 minutes to set up. And I would argue that this is arguably probably the biggest impact strategy for increasing organic traffic. You could argue that content refreshing that we talked about earlier is up there, but point being, if you're kind of slogging it out, like Chase was talking about, where you're writing 5 blog posts a month and they're not getting great results and it's just a ton of work, I would really consider adding CTR testing, adding content refreshing, and maybe doing a 50-50 split versus just writing new content. It's just more competitive and frankly more work.
Plus you're selling sort of certainty. I feel like people are always willing to pay people who can show me with data that what you're saying is correct. And it's like, well, I can show you if what you currently have out there on your blog is best or not, because I'll test it for you. Right. And so you're going to go do the test, and it may turn out that the existing title was the winner, but now they have certainty of that. And I feel like in my experience, people are always willing to pay for that.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's another great call out with the reporting aspect. You know, there might be agencies watching right now where they're already doing this and they don't have a great way to report on it, or it's a slog. You're doing Google Data Studio setups for every single unique client. You know, if you get them into a tool like Clickflow, the client's going to love to see this, and it takes no effort on your part because we automatically surface the test results.
For sure.
Cool. Any questions before we work towards wrapping up here? And then we'll leave some time for questions at the end as well, Chase.
Nope, we're good to keep rolling.
Cool. Let's do it. So action items. If you want to check out CTR testing, give it a whirl with your agency. You can look at pages with high impressions but below average SEO click-through rates. You can use Google Search Console manually with a lot of spreadsheets, or a tool like Clickflow, which automates all this in one click. Test changes to your client's page, like reducing the length or adding brackets. And you can see some more tactics here, which we just covered: updating the year, putting a number at the front of the title. If it's like a listicle, like X best plumbers in Boise, stuff like that. So a lot of different ideas that you can test. And we also have some training and some recipes, if you will, for title testing inside of Clickflow. So in closing here, before we leave some time for questions, what I would encourage you to do is to pick one or maybe two of these tech-enabled services and pitch them to your clients. You know, great way to grow an agency. It's not all about getting new clients yourself. It's about expansion. So how do you find some of these opportunities where does your client have a database that they haven't reactivated ever? Does your client have decaying content or low CTR pages from a lot of the SEO effort from previous agencies or even your own? And pitch them to your clients. You can also use this for pitching new prospects. Put this into sort of an opportunity analysis where you're just saying, hey, these are the top 2 or 3 recommendations that I have for you that I can help you with. Really great way to increase your win rate on sales calls as well.